You in this battle, man, I'll soon be dead. I'll glue your face to my dick so I can fuck with your head. I got metaphors coming through my pores. You probably never been in a battle before, so I hope you realize your mistake. There ain't no party, got some candles, this won't be a piece of cake.
In 5, 4, 3. Folks, welcome to the Before Hours podcast, an internet radio phenomenon hosted by an occasional morning person. I ask the most interesting people I know about their sleep, their routine, life, love, stress, setbacks, and whatever else comes to mind. If you want to talk to us, you may do so in one of two ways. Email the Before Hours podcast at gmail.com, or you can slide into my DMs on Instagram. I'm Bobby Sheehan, LOL. LOL, because you know I bring the laughter, dude. Now we have a guest I'm very excited about. I'm a podcast host that doesn't know how to talk. Dude, I'm very excited about this guest, dude. He is a fellow comedian, a fellow podcaster, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, a good man. Welcome to the podcast, Antonio Barbosa. How are you?
I feel fantastic, sir.
Hell
Thank
yeah,
you for
man.
having me, man. This is going to be great.
Now, Antonio, have you ever
Yes.
thought about Anglicanizing it, or however you say that word, Anglifying it?
Anglifying.
You ever think about kind of, burn the roots of your family tree?
Yeah,
As Montesquieu once said,
sure.
and go by Anthony.
You know, that's sacrilegious where I come from.
Really?
Yeah, because Antonio is the Italian version.
Ah.
Anthony Medigan.
Yeah.
Medigan.
Maron.
Yeah.
Where do you come from? I don't know this about you.
Well, I'm from Rhode Island, but my mother's Italian and my dad is Portuguese, specifically from the Azores.
Oh.
Very racist mix. Italian, Portuguese.
I don't agree with it.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, you're neither, so.
I always, okay, because to me, I'm like, Antonio is some sort of Latino, right?
Yeah.
But
I get that often.
But you're not.
I don't know. It's like deaf Latino. It's like Latino. It's like Latino diet. You know.
Yeah. You know why I know Barbosa is Barbosa.
Barbosa. I used to have a Dominican baseball coach when I was a little kid. He used to just go Barbosa. It was
Hell
the best. Yeah.
That rules, dude. Because you can't Latin my last name at all.
No.
My last name sounds like a potato in rehab.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
El Shihan.
Yeah. Although I did have a comedy show host who didn't know me bring me up as Bobby Sheehan.
Shihan. So
Which
they
is-
thought you were Asian.
Yeah. which is weird because he did see me. We did like introduce each other, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There's nothing about me that's Asian above the belt. You know what I mean?
All right.
So I don't know how he got that, perception, but
Were you wearing sweatpants?
No, but you know what? There's something about sweatpants. My print in my sweatpants. I don't know if it does anything for anybody. Why don't I post it, somewhere at the end of this video? Maxim will help me work.
We should, yeah.
But I'm gonna need a fluffer, Maxim, to get the best.
Next door, we were saying before.
Oh, right, the
next door,
the hose next door.
Yes,
yeah. I have podcast groupies now. It's very. I don't like to talk about it because it's like
the hose next door. That sounds like a modern like lady sitcom, like of like pro women.
Yeah,
with a
that
hose
is
next
true.
door.
That's true because
Yeah.
hose used to be a thing that women are like, unacceptable.
Yes.
But now women are okay with either calling themselves hoes or a black or Hispanic person can call them hoes.
Sure.
If I call them hoes, we're gonna have a problem.
Right. Well, there's a few words where that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hispanics kind of, they sneak through on all those. They're able to kind of, Hispanic people can say ho, they can say, plenty of stuff. It's kind of wild.
Fat Joe on Twitter, people on Twitter, and by the way, controversies on Twitter is usually a few dozen people say stuff and a few thousand people passively like the stuff they're saying.
Right.
Literally like hit the like button. And then it becomes, then BuzzFeed's like, the internet is exploding with this new discourse. And I'm like, that's probably
It's
an
just
exaggeration.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Fat Joe,
yeah.
people are like, Fat Joe can't say the N word.
Why not? He's
Well,
been doing it forever. He's grandfathered in.
I think he is grandfathered. You know the history of that term. That's very funny, by the way.
What is the history of it?
After the Civil War,
Okay.
the passing of the 15th Amendment, that said that black people can vote, right? There was a brief period in time where, because they were, shall we say, Yankee troops
Yes.
in the occupied South, black men really were able to vote, which is why Republicans were winning in the South for 2 elections in a row. But once Reconstruction ended, you got my boy Rutherford B. Hayes in there. Now, like technically, black men are supposed to be allowed to vote, but the southern states were implementing all these rules that in practice kept black men from voting. So you had like the poll tax, right, which could be applied arbitrarily. So that's a way to keep like, even though.
So like they would charge you to go vote.
Yeah, and if you were a black man, they'd be like, it's $50, and if you were a white man, they'd be like, it's actually $1. So like poor white people could still vote, and poor black people couldn't.
Oh, that's like the opposite of a bodega now. You get charged way more as a white guy.
So my podcast listeners that are like me, lacking in melanin, if you were ever visiting in New York, if someone outside of a major chain, if you go to a bodega or a food truck and they say the price, look at them like, come on, man. And then they'll lower it by at least 20%.
Yeah.
You just have to give them a certain look and they're like, hey, I was trying. Yes. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I could fuck with you, but you gave me that look. So now I guess you can't.
They're hustlers. That's how I paid $17 for Backwoods one time. And I'm not even that white. We've already established that. I paid $17 for, and I did it because I'm addicted. But yeah, that is an example.
Yeah. That's so funny, dude.
So grandfathered in.
Oh, so grandfathered in. Sorry. Yeah. So, and then poll tax was another, or not poll tax, literacy tests were another one where it was supposed to be colorblind, but like if you were a white person, they would be like, can you write your name? Okay, you could vote. And then for a black person, it would be like, can you explain the constitutional law behind the Third Amendment? You know what I mean?
Right.
Just complete another bullshit. But another thing that because eventually, even though Reconstruction was over, the federal government would still be like, hey, I think these literacy tests are not being applied fairly.
Yeah.
You have to give the same literacy test. So then they would be like, okay, well, everybody takes the same literacy test unless your grandfather was not a slave. And that's what it means to be grandfathered in.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So Fat Joe's racist. That's that's what.
Too long didn't read. Fat Joe, you can't say the Okay, so obviously we're both unable to have an opinion of who and who cannot say the N-word.
Right.
And I will say that the discourse I think is very silly because there is more, even if you think he shouldn't be allowed to say it, there's probably more important stuff to worry about. But I think Fat Joe's response to the criticism is very funny because he didn't apologize. He came out with a song where he, and I'm precluded from actually saying what he says in the song, but he, so this is a paraphrase, but he goes, people say I can't say the N-word. Well, guess what? And then the beat drops and he goes, N-word, 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 N-word. And I think that is the only way to respond to criticism.
Yes.
To be like, I'm sorry. Am I in trouble? Well, fuck you. That's the only way. That's what Trump does.
Yes.
And Fat Joe took a play out of the Trump book.
Yes.
And now the people that still hate him, or the people that hated him will still hate him. And the people that like him
are gonna
still
love him.
Yeah. But the only way to get, if you apologize, and if you actually fuck up, you should apologize. But if it's just the culture where people are bored and they pick you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't apologize because the people you're apologizing to aren't going to be like, oh, okay, all sins are forgiven, because they're not like that.
Right.
But the people that like you are going to be like, you're a fucking pussy, dude. And they're right. So
yeah. Any kind of criticism, you meet it with saying the N-word a lot. That's that. I think we established that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Antonio Barbosa, I was on your podcast and I had a great time.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. The Smoking Simeon, plug it in the middle and at the end, of course.
We're gonna do plugs at the end.
Oh yeah. So I actually started that before restarting stand-up, maybe, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually missed it this week because I was in Canada. I came back from the Great White North, which is both great and white and full of nobody. There's nobody there.
Where did you go in Canada?
Well, the house we were staying in was in Quebec. So it was all French people. Gay. But it was obviously tough to communicate with people there. But we also went to Montreal, which was very much like Brooklyn. I would say Montreal's very much like Brooklyn. A lot of tatted ladies and guys wearing like circular glasses and beanies walking around. Thrift stores, a lot of thrift stores. But that was fun. Yeah. My buddy, I got a story about it. My buddy on Tuesday, this was this week, I just came back. On Tuesday, he smashed his tire because we were driving from the watering hole that we were at in wherever. We were going to go back to the house. But our theme of the trip, me and my buddy, was to ditch everybody and go to McDonald's. We've been doing that the whole trip. And we were doing that, but we had been drinking. And I had just made the joke that, wow, Kevin, you get to drink and drive in another country. This is great. And as soon as I said that, he smashed his front right tire and flattened it. Yeah. And then we were kind of stuck. I had to get a plane the next day.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I had to get a plane on whatever day it was, because you can't, in Canada, they don't give a fuck about service.
Yeah.
They take their time. They're very slow. You can't get something immediate in Canada. So we were thinking Wednesday morning, we can just get a tire. It'll be easy. Went to 3 or 4 different tire shops, and they're like, French shit. And they didn't have his tire. So I just had to get a plane.
Oh, geez.
Which was a whole other disaster.
Yeah. Airports
are, they're cool to be in. They're like a club. They're like cool to be in. But once you're in there, you're like, it would be better if it makes sense that you would be drunk in both a club and an airport. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel so bad.
Yeah.
So bad is an overstatement, but like the Karen videos that take place in an airplane.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I'm a big proponent of 99% of Karen videos, and Karen, I mean gender neutral, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know, whatever the male equivalent of a Karen is.
Brian or something.
Brian, yeah, come
fucking
on.
Brian.
No, yeah, if your name is Brian, I'm sorry, but if your name is Karen, dude, I know so many nice ladies named Karen. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah,
they're fucked. It's like Chads. Like Chads are now big dumb idiots. There could be an eloquent Chad walking around somewhere.
Yeah,
There's got to be one.
Honestly, I think
he won't reproduce.
Yeah.
he's at the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah, I think because most of those Karen videos, if they're not mentally ill, they're intoxicated, or they're in a very stressful situation, and that's not an excuse.
Yeah,
so you still have to behave in a civilized manner.
Yes,
you know what I mean. But dude, if you are at an airport and then you have time to kill, and then you get drunk at an airport bar, and so now you got your suitcase, and you're like, do I have the right fucking ticket, and where's my gate? And
yeah,
I'm a nervous flyer, and I'm a little drunk, and then all of a sudden someone's like, oh, you actually have to take a shuttle to the hotel because your flight is actually not going to tomorrow.
Right.
If you're not the most zen person in the world, you could be like, my only option is to flip out right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just cause a ruckus. Kick someone's service dog.
Yeah.
Fuck this. Where's my goddamn gate? My flight got delayed an hour and a half after we sat on it for like 30 extra minutes with no air conditioning.
Ugh.
They're like, the AC's broken. At that point, I was like, fuck it. Send us in the sky. We'll all just have heat stroke. You know, fat beasts go on these airplanes. That's what it is.
I am never more fat phobic than when I'm on an airplane.
Oh yeah,
because I don't know if I accidentally signed up for the service that is middle seat between two fatties.
Yeah,
but it is what happens to me, and they're never like, hey, I'm sorry about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're never even, they're all sitting like I'm sitting now.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's horrendous. They're always munching, crunching.
Yeah.
Their arms are sweating. Yeah. It's horrible.
Yeah, dude. Come on.
Have you seen, I forgot what the airline was. Was it United? They have like fat preferred seating.
I love that.
Like you can get extra room if you qualify. Like if you're like, 600 pounds or something. So that helps everybody, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, no one's happy in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, okay, I've been thinking about like what I would do differently if I became very wealthy, which is, obviously a fantasy and not something that is probably ever going to happen.
Oh, but it could.
It could, dude.
Yeah.
I've been playing the lottery every day.
Yeah.
But if I ever get a lot of money, I think, because I'm blessed that I don't have like extravagant tastes.
Okay.
I'm not like,
nice.
I would eat caviar every day and I would go on these fancy. I think I would just never be on the subway again and never be in economy class again. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just when I walk by no, you know, they make you walk by first class, which is it's very funny that they do that, right?
Yeah,
And you look,
people just
yeah, they're like, huh. But to me, I'm like, I'm not someone that really cares about status. You know, I mean, we all care about it to some extent, but I'm never walking by being like, I fucking wish I was rich.
Yeah.
But I do look at the fact, I'm like, their knees don't have to touch someone else's knees.
right.
You know, and I really don't mind a crowded subway as long as everyone can behave themselves. But you're so unlikely to be in a crowded place where everyone is behaving themselves.
Right. Yeah. There's always a few rabble-rousers, especially on a plane. Like you said, people get drugs prescribed to go on planes.
Yeah.
Like, people are taking Xanax to go on planes. So, yeah. You know what's a crazy thing that I always think about? I think about when there was a time, not only when you could smoke indoors, when you could smoke on a plane. Imagine being able to smoke on a plane.
It would drive me. So, dude, I've traveled a bit when I was in like the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, they're like
Czech
us in like
casting.
99% of ways, but you could smoke in bars there.
Oh.
And this is when I was a drinking man, so I spent time in bars, but I was like, I can't. I'm so annoyed by being surrounded by smoke. And it's, you know, it is what it is. I'm like, well, you know, then the market dictates I go to a bar that's not divey and therefore people won't be smoking.
Right.
But I'm like, oh, like the smell.
Yeah.
And it's just, I guess, and when are you a smoker?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it.
So
It's horrible.
when you walk, if you walked into, okay, if you
Don't get it wrong, I am an Olympic level athlete as well.
yeah.
I just, you know, on occasion.
The duality of man.
Yes.
So when you walk into a crowded room
Yeah.
full of smoke, which is rare to happen in America. If you were in the Czech bar with me
Yeah.
and everybody was smoking, would you smell it and be like, I love the smell of smoke?
Yeah.
Or would you not smell it at all because you're used to it?
I would say I'm home.
Oh, okay.
I would say this is where I need to be right now. Yeah. Like Lambeau Field or Lambeau Stadium, whatever, where the Green Bay Packers play.
Okay.
They allowed now that you can smoke in the stadium during the games. You could smoke cigarettes, you could smoke vapes, you can smoke Delta 8, but you could probably smoke like regular marijuana as well. Because who's gonna, you know,
Right.
is that Delta 8? No, who's, you know, they would need some real teenagers to be there sniffing it out. Like, that's mid. That's that's not that, you know.
Excuse me, sir. For real, that's mid right
That's
now.
mid?
On
Yeah.
God, that smells like mid. That'd be so embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like but the plane is a level that's because you can't leave. You know, if you have like a headache or whatever, you're in a bar where you know, because there is a level of too much smoke, definitely. But being in a plane to me while people can smoke is maniacal. It sounds maniacal. I'm sure there were babies.
I mean,
Yeah.
so how old are you, Antonio?
27.
27. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think because I'm 33, I remember smoking and non-smoking sections
Sure.
in restaurants. Do
Yes.
you remember that?
I do.
You do? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. To me, like, and my dad, he's quit now, but he was like a lifelong smoker, and he was like, I can't. Even I think it's gross to like smoke and eat at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Smoking is like I'm like a Native American when I smoke. It's a thing, you know. Like, I'm gonna sit. I don't even look at my phone sometimes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I put it off to the side. This is just me justifying my addiction to tobacco.
My screen time is going down. My ability to walk without wheezing is also going down. But
And I look so much cooler.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I will say smoking looks so fucking cool.
That's like 80% of why I do it. Yeah, it just looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm that shallow with it.
Yeah, to me, it's like that's why I'm curious about the rise in vaping, because vaping looks less cool than not smoking.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, that's what drew me away from it. Like, I would be like, oh, I'm trying not to smoke cigs, so let me smoke this vape. And then I was like, nah, I still don't care, but I'm like giving the illusion that I care by smoking this thing.
Right.
But I don't because I'm smoking. It's like a paradox. You know, it's like a philosophical model. Ants vape, we'll call it. And, yeah, I was just like, nah, fuck that. If I'm going to smoke, I'll just have a cigarette.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't buy like a pack because in my mind, it's like if I buy a pack, I'm going to chief this fucking thing. You know, like unless I know that we're for like a weekend, we're gonna get hammered a bunch of times.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, I'll just buy a Lucy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I have because I don't smoke, but I have a similar, like I don't keep snacks in the house
Yes.
because I will,
Yes.
I will house a box of whatever.
You you
I
like
can't-
snacks?
I do. You know what? It's this weird thing because I've been doing this thing like every once in a while. I crave ice cream, right? Ice cream's like my vice, right?
Yeah.
Ben and Jerry's ice cream, which is a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream is so delicious,
Yeah.
but it is just straight up like sugar.
Yes.
You know?
Gay sugar.
Gay sugar, dude.
Yeah.
I'm never more gay than when I'm eating ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, unless
Especially
I'm alone
Ben and
with my
Jerry's.
thoughts.
Yeah.
But
That's true too. That's true too.
it's 13 to like 1,500 calories in a pint. So I was like, okay, even as a treat, it's crazy to eat like a pint in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'll eat half the pint now and I'll put it in the freezer.
Mhm.
And the next time I want ice cream, I have the second pint. First of all, the level of like, it almost felt like edging to eat half the pint and then put it away.
Yeah.
I was like, but the other pint's in there. And then like literally every day, like sometimes I'd be like, is today?
Yeah.
Is today, do I get to eat the, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to, when I would like count calories and shit, I used to take like a half cup scoop out of the Ben and Jerry's and I would eat it out of that.
Yeah.
And then I decided to get rid of my vagina and got a dick.
Oh.
And I just eat the whole thing now.
Dude, okay, so I still have a vagina, I guess,
Yeah.
because I'm so meticulous with my calorie counting.
You are.
I
Okay.
got my Fitness Pal.
Yeah.
You know what
I used to use it. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so you're well, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you are I know you're a gym guy.
Yes.
What's your relationship to exercising?
So I've always liked being active for sure. Like I've been in the martial arts since I was 5 years old. I started lifting weights, I don't know, in middle school or something. But that is all from being fat shamed as a child by my big fat diabetic family, which is the truth. You know, people undermine the power of fat shaming a child. You know, like if I don't look at myself shirtless every day and say you're a fat slob, I'll never go to the gym. I'll never get anything. If I don't hear my grandmother saying you're a fat pig, it doesn't get done. You know, at least in my world. Some people, they grow up with encouragement, which is, you know, it's overrated, we can call it. No, so yeah. I mean, I've been active. I've always played sports. I enjoy it. I mean, I was, like I just said, I was in Canada and I didn't have access to a gym or anything. I was restless. I was like, anxious. I feel like I need to get that out. So we did go on a hike, which was fun. A hike is always nice. I love a good hike.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, hike is good, although hiking is cardio, which
Yeah.
I want to go on record as respectfully, it's for women and gays. Cardio.
Okay.
And I hate it. I hate it. So
It
I'm
sucks.
always motivated to lift,
Women and gays.
which is fine. If you're a woman or a gay, then that's
I'm
gay.
both. I'm both.
You are.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
I get a lot of cardio.
No,
done.
hey, lesbians at the Planet Fitness in Brooklyn that
They
I go
do no
to,
cardio.
they're fucking. I'm like, yeah, dude.
They
And
get after it.
you know, it's unfair that they're lesbians because I want them to put me in a headlock and tell me what a naughty boy I've been.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know
That
what?
would be nice.
I've been on record as saying like a petite woman is very sexy, but a muscle mommy,
You like that?
muscle mommy, dude. Sometimes when I'm in a certain mood,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, just fucking beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me.
You want to be used as a dildo.
Yeah.
She throws you into her.
Or I feel like I'm not even. It's like the experience some women feel. They're like, he just like fucking got on top of me
Yeah.
and came.
Yeah.
And they hate it, but to me, I'm like, dude, if I'm on top of the woman, but
Yeah.
she's like moving me in and out,
Yeah.
I would certainly like to give that a go. You know what I mean?
Little Rhea Ripley action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd
you know
be,
her?
No, but
She's jacked up. She's hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll have
yeah.
to do some research after.
Look her up.
Which is unfortunate because I'm going to a coffee shop after this. So public research. But maybe if I keep my back to the wall and use incognito mode, I won't get in trouble.
Yeah. VPN.
So it's interesting to me that you're talking about like that you almost have, what's the word I'm looking for? Like negative motivation. You're like, well, I don't want to be fat.
Yes.
You know.
That's exactly it.
And I think because I have a similar thing. I'm like, I don't want to be small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a constant, and it's psychological too, because some days I feel small. I mean, I'm objectively small, but some days I feel smaller than I am.
Right.
And that's, dude, that along with Papa Roach in my headphones, whew, I might hit a PR that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Will you?
Yeah.
Papa Roach is in there?
Dude, Last Resort. Which is very funny because I'm doing like a thing that should be for self-improvement while I'm listening to a song about unaliving.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I talk like this now. I'm trying to help the algorithm.
But that's good. I think that's good. Sometimes you ever find yourself listening to music in the gym that isn't necessarily motivating or intense? It's just like a nice vibe to have.
Oh, Lady Gaga's Paparazzi is in my rotation.
That's
dude.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I got
Listen to me right after I'm like, if you do cardio, you're gay. And meanwhile, I'm like, I love lifting to Lady Gaga.
Dude, I'm on the Stairmaster with Jesse McCartney in my hair. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. I'll knock anyone out in that goddamn gym. No, for real. I'll listen to Mariah Carey.
Oh,
doing bent over fucking rows with a barbell.
Yeah.
Just Mariah Carey.
Mm-hmm. Why are you so obsessed with me? You know that song's about Eminem?
Yes. Yeah,
crazy?
I do know that.
Yeah.
He was. Well, was he? Or I know there was a beef.
There's this whole
There's
thing.
a big beef.
So here's my perspective is because he says that they had sex. I'm trying to remember the song. Because there's a song where he like spells out their whole relationship. And he literally says, we went out a bunch of times and you only let me hit. And I forget if he said once or twice. Maxim, is this annoying? Can you look up the Eminem song, The Warning? And then you could just Control F and only let me hit. And then it'll say if it's once or twice.
Okay.
But they fucked one or two times.
Okay.
Right. And she's like, oh, it never happened. And I'm like, I kind of lean towards Eminem's side of the story because he's not he's once. Okay. Thank you, Maxim.
Gotcha.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine dedicating so much time to like producing a podcast well.
Yeah.
And then you're made to look up that by me.
Yeah. Look up an Eminem lyric. Yeah. I love that.
But yeah, he only hit one. Okay. So because that's not particularly flattering to him. He's like, you only let me hit once.
Yeah.
And then Mariah's like, we actually didn't even go on one date. It's like,
right.
Here,
Plus, he's a man. You want to believe the man.
You
always.
Hashtag believe all men.
Believe men.
I think, and listen, I am willing to, because I am a stan, but there are situations where I'm like, Eminem overreacted.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think this is one of them. I think, did he go over? Because I can imagine it being a little annoying if you fucked a woman and she's like, it never happened.
Yeah, right.
I mean?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Especially like Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
I do okay, here's what I think happened, because apparently that was during a time in which she really was spiraling.
Oh.
So I think she fucked him when she was in a place where she wouldn't have otherwise fucked him.
Oh.
And I think she was like a little embarrassed that they fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they are both rich celebrities, but like she's also a rich celebrity.
Yeah.
So then it just comes back to like, you know, you fucked a 5'8" guy that, you know, has a black scent for some reason. You know what I mean? Like that's not, you know, if they're on equal playing field, I could see how that's embarrassing.
Yes.
You know, but
yeah, I can see that. You know, funny thing about Eminem, I remember in high school when I was in the wrestling team, it was my freshman year. We were all in the car. Our coach was bringing us and some of the upperclassmen, but me and my buddy were freshmen in the back. And I just remember we were talking about music, and all the kids or all the guys on the team liked hip hop, and I was still in my classic rock era in middle school. Yes, I mean I'm in it forever, but in that time it was like strictly that. I barely listened to rap.
Yeah,
and I just remember my coach being like, "Yeah, man, hip hop sucks, man. They're all criminals."
Yikes.
He's like, yeah, at least they're not, because the argument that my teammates were making were like, yeah, but rock stars are all on drugs, they're all doing heroin and cocaine. He's like, yeah, but at least they're not criminals. And then like shortly after that, he's like, I do like Eminem though. I like some Eminem stuff.
Yikes.
It was wacky. We were sitting back there, and then he's like, yeah, Antonio likes rock, right? Like after he said that, he's like, Antonio's, you like classic rock, right? I'm like, I guess.
That's so funny. He like has this whole political thing, and then he's bringing you in. And you're like, this is the music I like. I don't necessarily have to. Dude, okay, so here's my perspective. Because there's that guy, and then there's the black equivalent of that guy.
Yeah.
So here's how I feel. Like, if you're a white guy and you're like, I hate hip hop, except for and only for Eminem, that is suspect.
Yes.
You might have problems with black people if you say that.
That could be it.
But if you are a black guy and you're like, I love hip hop, and Eminem is not even in my top 10, that is also suspect. You might have
you could be
problems
racist
with white people.
Yes.
If that is the scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, Mac Miller said that in one of his songs. He's like, if I'm not in your top 10, then you're a racist.
Really?
Yeah, he did say that.
Yikes! Which is, I don't know if I think it's okay to not have Mac Miller in your top 10.
I fucking love Mac Miller.
Yeah,
I
never really got into him, to be honest with you.
Oh man,
yeah,
he's fucking good. He's pretty good.
I like his. Okay, here was where I was when I found out about him, and I did see him live in concert one time. And
really?
It was, what's the song Donald Trump?
Yes.
You know, back before that was a political thing to like Donald Trump, right?
It was cool.
Yeah.
You just like him.
Well, you know what I love about that song too is because like Mac Miller was so authentically himself. He was like, I'm from the suburbs outside of Pittsburgh. I'm not trying to pretend to be something else.
Right.
But, you know, what's fun about hip hop a lot of the times is like all of the lines about like, I used to be poor, but now I'm rich.
Yes.
Because it's quintessentially America, dude. Rags to riches. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, he can't, you know, I think his parents are like middle class, right? Like,
yeah.
I think one of them was like a lawyer or an accountant or something.
Totally.
So he was, but the whole point of the song Donald Trump is like, I got 0 bitches and now I have so many bitches.
Tons.
Yeah. And now I'm like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he was
it's
super
a different
young.
rags to riches story.
Right. Yeah. And he was super young. He also kind of predicted his death in one of his songs.
Really?
To everyone that sells me drugs, don't mix it with that bullshit. I'm not trying to join the 27 club.
And then he died at 26.
26. So he didn't join it. He wasn't part of the club.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Do you think like actually not doing drugs would have been better than like putting a line in his songs about please don't put Fenty in my drugs?
No. Mm-hmm. I think every artist needs a drug phase. I like think of all the cool, like Miley Cyrus. If Miley Cyrus never went through a drug phase, she wouldn't be cool as fuck now. Like she was the girl, like the Disney Channel girl, beautiful, sweet Hannah Montana. Then she went a little off the rails. She's doing the Jordan song and dancing on Robin Thicke with the weird hair and the weird outfit. And she went a little off the rails. And now she's back and she's cool as fuck and she's fresh. And you know who didn't have a drug phase? Taylor Swift. And that bitch sucks. Taylor Swift makes the dullest, most shitty, boring music ever. And I don't know anything apparently because she's the biggest act in the world, maybe ever. But I think, Demi Lovato, another one. Demi Lovato, she had a big heroin thing and now she does jujitsu and that's cool to me. But
so if you're an artist,
do drugs.
Do drugs for a little while. Almost die, but don't.
Yes.
That's that people mess up and then they do die.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Don't die.
And then come back cool as hell.
Yeah. Eminem, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I know he had to disappear. He had to figure it out, but.
Yeah, I mean, you have encore and you have relapse. It's like,
the other option is to do drugs the whole time, burn really bright for a little bit, and then just explode.
Yeah.
That's
I know, Antonio, you're doing one of your little skits right now.
Am I?
I think
I believe this.
I think, okay, because
I do.
All right, I'm gonna have to listen. I can't yes and this because I think some artists or even people at our level, they're like, well, I gotta do drugs or I gotta lean into my problematic behavior.
Sure.
Because it's what makes me like tough and or interesting or a brooding artist or whatever. And it's like, I think more times than not, that stuff gets in the way more than anything. Like I know
Sure.
people at our level, or God forbid lower, right? That are like, I think they are drug guys or they are alcohol guys or girls, and they would be better if they could figure that shit out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
people that I know that kill at open mics, but because either their work ethic suffers from their drug or alcohol use, or they burn bridges because of their drug and alcohol use. I think I heard Patton Oswalt talk about this one time, before he killed his wife. He was he was talking about, he was like, he's quoting Bukowski.
Okay.
You got to be a Bukowski guy.
Oh, totally.
I think I've read everything he's written.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
Bukowski has this line where he says, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically like, no one can write if they don't know pain, right? And then Patton Oswalt, who's like struggled with mental health stuff, he's like, that's BS. There's plenty of happy writers.
Yeah.
There's plenty of happy comedians. And I think the worst thing you could do is not address your underlying mental health or substance abuse issues because you think it makes you a good artist.
Right.
Because I do think that's how people die, not to get too heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
But I mean, you're saying have a drug phase for a little while and then get clean.
Right. That would be good.
So if you
That would be good.
are an artist,
Even better than that is do drugs your whole life and live.
yeah,
That's sick. Like in my mind, I'm thinking about like Keith Richards.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
He figured it out, dude.
Is that not what everyone wants?
Yeah.
To be able to just do as many drugs, snort your father's ashes, and be able to do that forever and just rock and roll till you're 80?
So I wonder how many of the like living rock stars that are like, I did drugs the whole time.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is like a story. Because I do think if
Right.
you do drugs enough, eventually they will kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they also get the good ones too.
That's true.
They get rock star drugs. So they're
Yeah.
like clean and I guess,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I understand it's definitely not a one size fits all model.
Are you a drug guy?
I don't do hard drugs. No.
What are your drugs of choice?
I like to smoke weed. I do drink. I love nicotine. I love caffeine. And I do like psilocybin, mushrooms. Mushrooms are nice. I did Molly once.
Okay.
But I do like hallucinogens for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Now I'm unacquainted with hallucinogens. What's your process?
I mean, it depends. If I'm gonna have like a trip,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually with other people, and we're all gonna do it together,
Okay.
which is important.
Okay.
Because if you're around the wrong people at the wrong setting, then you will think yourself into a stroke. Yeah, I was very close. I thought I was giving myself a stroke one time. I was like, this side of my face is drooping. I feel it. And I'm looking at my buddy who's not on mushrooms. And he's like, you're absolutely fine. And I'm like, I feel my face. Look at my face. And it's just me doing it. And yeah, you think you're going to die. But the right way to do it is to do it with a group, people you trust, maybe one or two people that aren't doing it with you, so that if something like that happens, they can talk to you. Because the thing with mushrooms, if me and you are tripping and you start freaking out, you can influence me because your mind is just so open when you're on mushrooms. Anything can pop in and ruin shit. You can think of a time that you were rude to your mother once.
Okay.
And you'll fucking yeah. And then you just got to wait it out. There's nothing anybody can do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was never a mushrooms guy or acid guy
Yeah.
or hallucinogens in general. I'm a little. I mean, now I'm sober, so in my opinion, doing those would break my sobriety, which I don't want to do.
Sure.
But I think even when I was like while I was drinking and when I was open to drugs, I shied away from hallucinogens because I'm a little afraid of the inside of my own mind. Yeah.
That means you should do them.
To me, it's like high risk, high reward. And no, you know what? It's high risk, mid reward. You know what I mean?
You think so?
Yeah.
You might come out, you're like, well, I'm still kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's different levels, right? Like if you smoke weed and you smoke like a little bit versus a lot, all it is you're a lot more, like you're more of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're sleepy with this much weed, you're going to be real sleepy with this much weed. Whereas mushrooms, it's a different thing completely. Like if you do a microdose versus eating an eighth, it's a completely different experience. So, I don't know why I clarified that for you.
Yeah.
I don't remember what we were talking about.
Well,
but,
just the idea that I'm too afraid of the inside of my own mind.
Right,
Have you
right.
had a bad trip
Yeah. I've had one.
on mushrooms?
On mushrooms, which if you enjoy doing mushrooms, you should have a bad trip at some point
Okay.
so that you can kind of combat it if it creeps in another time.
Ah.
Because I had a bad trip when I was telling you I thought I was gonna have a stroke. It was like an hour, dude. Because we had been tripping. We're hanging out because when you're tripping, everything's hilarious. Time goes by super slow. Things are nice usually, but something can happen, and I don't know what happened. And I just started to freak out for like an hour, and then after that, I was fine. A month or two later, I tripped again, way more intense of a trip, and there was a moment where that door kind of creaks open, where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck with you, and you're able to kind of shut it out.
Okay.
You're able to help yourself a little bit. Yeah.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah. But there's definitely levels to taking it. For
Yeah.
sure. A microdose is nice. I would take a microdose, a little double espresso, go to work. Yeah, hell yeah. Serving drinks to gambling addicts at Mohegan Sun. That was my shit. Talking to old guys. There's this old dude that would come in and drink Crown on the rocks and just gamble at the bar and talk about barometric pressure in the air, talking about the weather. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, the weather. It's wild. Yeah.
That to me is, dude, the old guy that's just like, I need to go somewhere where people will listen to me.
Yeah.
Dude, it's always an older guy.
Isn't that terrifying?
To me, it's like I have no soul. It's not even like, oh, he's single and childless. Because that to me isn't terrifying. But what's terrifying is like zero social circle.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I go to a building where I exchange money for goods, and therefore the person is obligated to talk to me.
Right.
It's like, yikes, dude. It's like a low grade. I go to a sex worker to because she'll listen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like not
prepared to
quite
hang out.
that. Yeah. But yeah, because I used to work in a cafe as a teenager, and like, yeah, old people will come, and if it was busy, and I was happy to do it because I'm like, I'm literally getting paid to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
But this guy, like, I don't know if he doesn't have
Anything. He might not have
and when they're
a thing.
super old, it's like, well, all of his friends are dead, which is sad too. But when they're middle age, it's like, oh, you just
fucked up.
My background story for this guy is always like, he got married and then he was a wife guy, right? One of those guys, like that's his social circle.
Yeah.
But then
We all got
fucking she
wives.
dies or leaves him. And then it's like, all right, well, starting from scratch as a middle-aged man,
Ugh.
Just
kill yourself.
Yeah, don't. If what I said applies to you, please don't kill yourself.
Or you could go the Bukowski route, right? He didn't get famous till later.
Dude.
Or Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate Rodney Dangerfield, and not because because I don't like his comedy, because he was brilliant, but he inspired a whole generation of men. Basically the men I just described just start doing comedy. I really like, dude, like that was a moment in time. But I think if you didn't at a certain age, you're too old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just forget it.
Yeah.
Do something where you're not in the public eye.
You
Build stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Collect bottle caps.
Do something, dude. Yeah, start a stamp collection. You know what I've noticed about and this is a generalization. There are guys that start later in life.
Yes.
That start comedy later in life, and they're totally cool. But you really just have to do open mics for a decade. And I've had conversations with these guys that'll notice that like I'm a little further along than them, and they'll be like, they're like looking for the secret. They'll be like, so what do you do? Who do I have to talk to? You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, you just do this for years.
How do we get paid? Why do we get paid for this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, you shouldn't even think about getting paid right now. And
Right.
they're like, yeah, but Yeah, like 10 years I'll be I'll have
62.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. You should have started when you were 25.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough at that age to commit to something that you're not getting paid for.
Yeah.
When you're a man who's worked his whole life, you're like, I work. That's what my time is. I work, and then when I'm not working, I relax.
I know a couple of guys that started middle age, and they are, because they feel an entitlement. You know, they'll be like, well, I'm older. It's like, yeah, but in like comedy years, we're the same age. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And this whole thing of like, oh, I have more life experience. It's like, do you?
Doing what?
Yeah.
What were you doing? Contracting?
Yeah.
More life experience. Okay, cool. I'm out on the street hanging.
I'm doing the hang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm blowing guys in an alleyway.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
experience. When was the last time you did that?
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're from Rhode Island, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is Rhode Island like? Because I might know 0 people from Rhode Island.
Yeah, everyone says it's not far from here. Usually when you say that, people are like, what part of New York is that?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's its own state, actually. Yeah, I mean, you'd like it. It's very historical. Obviously, it's very much like Massachusetts, one of the oldest places in the country.
I want to say it's the first state?
No. 13th. It was it was one of the original 13 colonies. And it was the last one to sign as a state of those 13 colonies.
Okay.
Yeah. Rhode Island's been always kind of a little bit of a rebellious last to pick or last to concede type state.
Okay.
I've told this story before on my podcast, but Rhode Island for a while was the 3rd most mob affiliated state in the country. It was New York, obviously number 1. Number 2 is Chicago, and number 3, over Philly and New Jersey, was Rhode Island. So mobbed up that at one point we had a mayor. His name, I forget his first name, but his name, at least is what we called him, was Buddy Cianci. And obviously this was before my time, but Buddy Cianci, he was the mayor of Rhode Island. I'm sorry. Yeah. The mayor of Providence, capital city of Rhode Island. And he went to jail for burning a cigarette in a guy's eye that he suspected was sleeping with his wife. And he did it in front of the DA and the chief of police of Providence, Rhode Island. He did it in his house, sat the guy down and interrogated him. And the guy was fucking his wife, for sure. And I told this to Sachin, and he was like, well, Italians are famous for loving their wives. You know, you can't fuck a man's wife. But yeah, so he goes to jail for doing that, gets out, gets reelected as mayor of Providence.
That's wild. When was this?
This was probably in the 80s. 80s, early 90s.
I was like, okay, this is when everyone was wearing bowler hats.
No.
That was in the 80s?
This is like...
And people are like, well, that guy did fuck his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Rhode Island at that point, like I said, was very, very Italian.
Oh, I see.
It's still pretty Italian.
And Italians do love their wives.
And they love hurting people.
So what's interesting to me is, did that guy leave his wife?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I'd be interested to see, what's this guy's name?
Buddy Cianci.
Buddy Cianci. Maxim, this is the last time I'll ask you to do something for this episode. Can you look up, I guess, the Wikipedia personal life for Buddy Cianci and see if he ever got divorced?
Yeah, he died. He died. He's dead now.
He's dead now.
He's dead now.
So,
but yeah.
Thank goodness, dude. We're talking shit about him on the podcast. I don't want him to burn a cigarette out of my eye.
Right. And another thing
Although it would give me a story to talk about on stage.
Another thing about that his initial tenure as mayor is there were people in the mafia that wanted Buddy Cianci to be the mayor.
Oh.
So they were stuffing ballots. Is that what it's called? Stuffing ballot boxes, whatever. They were doing the whole thing. And they were going out pushing flyers. And there was one guy, his name is, I forget his first name. Tillinghast is his last name. I had his son on my podcast. And he was an enforcer. He was a murderer for the mob. He went to jail for it after everything. He went to jail for like 20 years. But before that happened, he just was an enforcer for the mob. And they asked him, they're like, Tillinghast, can you fucking push Buddy Cianci? We need this guy to get in. And he's like, no, I don't fucking like him. I don't like the guy. And they're like, all right, we got to figure it out. But they're like, what are we going to have to do to get you to help? And he's like, give me a job. Give me a good job. They made him the director of public works
Okay.
in Providence, Rhode Island. A murderer for the mafia was
That's
also the
wild.
director of public works on the side.
Not even like a job like the head guy of the department.
The guy.
Although I will say director of public works sounds like only Tony Soprano type guys, you know?
It's really, I can't imagine that being much. You go shovel, you send like plows to a parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, something a guy in the mafia would be good at doing.
Easy stuff. Maxim, we have any luck?
TNT had one divorce.
That might have been the time.
So he did divorce her.
That might have been the time.
Okay.
Wow.
I was insanely curious about that because to me, it would be very funny. He was like, I put a cigarette out in this guy's eye.
Yeah.
Because that's not that you should put a cigarette out on anyone's eye, you know?
Unless they ask for it.
Unless it's
Consenting.
I don't know. That's a level. Do you know about, okay, so there were 2 gay guys in Germany,
Okay.
right?
There might be a few more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably more than 2 guys in Germany.
Yeah.
Actually, like Berlin is the fucking
It's gay.
my buddy Jeff, who he's gay and he's Jewish. He's from New York.
Nice.
And he has a bit about this, which I hope he doesn't mind me telling it on the podcast. I'm gonna have him on eventually, but he talks about going to Berlin, and they are so like culturally free. Like it's one of the gay capitals.
Okay.
Right. And you go to a gay man's sex club, and the rule is that you're completely naked.
Wow.
Yeah, you walk around naked, you see someone you like, you fuck somebody else. You know what I mean? Everyone's tested and shit. It's
Holy fuck.
So the way it works is you get a locker, and you put your clothes and whatever else you have in the locker. They lock it up. But because you're naked, you don't even there's nowhere to have a key. So say if the locker is like number 6, they just draw 6 on your body. And so the punchline is I'm a gay Jew walking around Berlin with a number tattooed on me.
What a twist.
For a completely different reason now. If you had to explain to Hitler, you're like, here's what's happening in Berlin now.
Yeah.
He would probably be upset.
All his work just ruined, right?
Yeah. To describe it as his work is very funny.
Yeah.
Everything he worked so hard for. But
Yeah.
these 2 gay guys in Berlin, and you reminded me of it because you were like, well, I guess you could consensually put a cigarette out in your partner's eye if you really want it,
Totally.
right? So there was a gay guy in Germany, and he had a very specific fetish. He's like, I want someone to fuck me. That's not specific. To kill me.
Oh.
To cut my body up and fucking eat me. Right? Which I can't even key into because I could even
Put that on Craigslist.
I don't know how he did it, and it didn't get flat. Now we're so like, now people are talking on.
Well, that's sexual freedom right there. That should be allowed.
That's
the will.
To me, I can't even key into it because it's like, dude, I get you could like sort of experience getting murdered. It's kind of murky. Like, when does the consciousness end?
Yeah.
Maybe the excitement of, I'm about to get murdered is, I don't even know if you could say murdered. I guess kill.
Yeah.
But you don't get to experience what happens after. I guess what's sexy to that guy is like, oh, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
He promised.
This is it.
He promised he's going to eat me.
Yeah.
And then maybe there truly is someone for everyone, because multiple people were like, I'll do it. Whoa. So he got to pick like the hottest guys of the guy that was going to kill him and eat him.
Yeah.
And he did go to the guy who did it to him.
Yeah.
Like, came over his house, fucked him, killed him, ate him. Guy had a fucking paper trail. He's like, this was consensual. And the German government was like, you can't kill somebody even if they say that they want you to. And so that guy's sitting in prison right now.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah, you want to go that far?
It should be allowed. I'm full bodily autonomy. It should be.
But then
done.
you go into this whole thing of like, well, were they in the right state of mind when they, that whole thing?
Yeah, as long as it's documented.
Okay.
As long as you're clean, you're not giving the corpse AIDS or something. I didn't mean to say AIDS. You know what I mean. It just happened to be. I don't know. That's wacky. That is wacky. But I mean, hey, we were talking about muscle mommies. You wouldn't want a big, strong one. What if a big, strong muscle mommy just fucked you to death?
I don't know if
Is that bad?
I think I don't want to get fucked to death, to be honest.
Fucked to death, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like she strap on fucks you to death. Like she lady fucks you to death.
Oh, like she's very feminine.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
in a
yeah.
feminine way ends my life.
yeah. Exactly. That could be nice. That could be on FetLife. That could be
Okay,
a thing.
I'm listening. So I was going to ask you if you've ever been fucked to death, but you're sitting here talking to me, so clearly you haven't.
No.
But I
wouldn't be
can
opposed.
ask you, because this is the Before Hours podcast, do you have a morning routine, Antonio?
Yes. Yeah. Normally what I'll do is my alarm will go off and it's usually around 8 a.m.
Okay.
And with my eyes closed, I'm reaching for my preloaded heroin needle
Oh, good.
right on my nightstand.
I like that the idea of like you're that conscientious.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you do heroin.
It's ready to go. And then I find it and I immediately, like I already know where the vein is. So now I just,
oh, good.
right
Okay.
there. No. So I wake up usually around that time, around 8 o'clock. And then I usually start with water. And then I get the coffee going. I do love coffee. I love a real strong black coffee.
Yeah.
And I'll get that going. And then while I drink my coffee, usually the next thing I want to do is go to the gym.
Okay.
So I'll usually stretch at my house to take away, I don't know. It's kind of like killing two birds, one stone because I'm already drinking the coffee anyway. So I'll do that. I'll stretch for maybe 20 minutes. Then I'll go to the gym for like an hour, 20. Yeah. And by that point, we're getting into the afternoon and I don't eat. I don't eat until maybe 2 o'clock.
Oh my God. You're
Yeah.
doing a fasted workout, dude?
Always. I
That's
love
right.
it. I've always done it.
I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've tried and I had a terrible time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have I'm so Goldilocks with this shit because I eat such a light breakfast.
Okay.
It's so,
What do you eat for breakfast?
it's a protein shake,
Yeah.
a banana, a piece of bread with 1 scoop of peanut butter and a serving of vegetables, either carrots or broccoli.
Wow,
So it's like,
vegetables in the morning.
yeah, so it's like
Okay.
under 400 calories, but it's something.
It's something.
It'll carry me over. And then I also work out 120, 1/2 hour. And then immediately after I eat something.
Right after you.
I have to.
Oh,
yeah, it's that's what like tethers me to like my meals is like what my workout looks like. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
The harder you go, the hungrier you are.
So what's a fasted workout? What's the reasoning behind it? Or is it just how you like to do it?
I do like, I don't like eating. Like, how soon do you eat before you go to the gym? Do you eat and then go right to the gym?
So usually I do a bunch of stuff in the morning and then
Okay.
like once I'm awake for an hour, I'll eat my meal, do the dishes that I just made,
Yeah.
put on some sunscreen, and head on over. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For me, anytime I've eaten in that like short span of time, I don't feel great when I exercise.
Really?
Yeah.
So I've felt that way if I eat a full meal,
Yeah.
but you're saying like you just can't eat.
Really anything.
Okay.
I don't love it. The coffee's good. Honestly, because I take a big shit right before the gym. I like having nothing. It's really weird. I like having nothing in me. I drink very minimal water while I exercise.
Mhm.
And I think it's more of like a caloric thing. Like I like getting like burning calories because I'm already kind of in ketosis because I haven't eaten for sleep. And then,
Okay.
yeah, that's the way I like doing it. Really anything. Like even when I train MMA or anything, I don't eat before that, any of that shit. Yeah.
The fact that we're so opposite
Yeah.
in that way, because the fact that you don't even I'm constantly drinking water. I'll drink 2 liters of water, like 2 of these in the hour and a half that I'm in the gym.
See, after the gym and before,
Mhm.
I drink a bunch of water. But for whatever reason, when I'm exercising, I'm not like.
Are you a member of the Clear Pea Club?
I would say probably 4 days out of the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say that because I do have a jug that I carry, not like a big one.
Mhm.
My jug is average size.
Oh, yeah, it's how you use it.
Exactly. Right.
Mhm.
And that helps me. Yeah. I mean, I definitely do want to drink a lot of water. It gives you, better energy and nice skin. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's into skincare right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to spend the money on that bullshit, so I just drink water.
I drink water, I get enough sleep, and I put sunscreen on.
That's
and
nice.
For me,
Yeah.
someone that's a redheaded gentleman like myself, sunscreen is very important.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah. Now that I have no hair, I feel like it's a little more important.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't run into it yet. This is the first bald summer. This is bald boy summer.
Bald boy summer, dude.
Yeah.
It's bald boy summer, and
That's
I'm
right.
here for it, guys.
That's right.
And Antonio, you mentioned a medium-sized jug. If
Medium-sized jug.
anybody wants to DM you their medium-sized, small size, or even big-sized jugs, how do they do that?
At Antonio the Comical on Instagram. Please, I want to see all your jugs.
Yeah.
Every last jug.
Hell yeah. As long as you're 18 or over, send them pictures of your jugs.
Yeah.
And you got a podcast too. Why don't we plug that as well?
Yes.
And anything else you want to plug?
Yes, absolutely. So Antonio the Comical is my stand-up page, personal page, whatever. Put fun shit on there. My podcast out every Thursday, usually in the afternoon. It's called The Smoking Simian. It's available everywhere. YouTube, all the podcast platforms. We started putting video on Spotify now, so pretty cool. And the last thing, if you're a bit of a reader, I do every month, I put a little piece up on Substack. It's called Absurd. Check that out. It's not funny. It's not meant to be funny. It's just a fun thing. Thank you, Bobby. This was fun.
Thank you, Antonio. I appreciate you
Yeah.
being on. And remember, folks, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Yes.
I'm just playing night owls. You know I love you.